The film begins in the late 19th century, where a masterless samurai, or ronin, walks along a dusty road. He comes across a house and asks the man there if he can drink from his well. The man, preoccupied with scolding his teenage son for wanting to leave home and join a nearby gang, rather than endure a life of hardship, reluctantly allows it. After the son storms off, the man mocks the ronin, remarking that troublemakers always show up when they smell blood. Entering the nearby town, the ronin notices that the streets are eerily deserted. Young gang members, looking even more ragged than he does, glare at him from behind sliding doors. As he walks, he witnesses a disturbing sight: a dog trotting by with a severed human hand in its mouth. A group of gang members attempts to confront him, but the ronin casually ignores them and moves on. He eventually stops at an empty tavern, where he orders food and drink from the elderly owner, Gonji. Though Gonji only has hot sake and cold rice, the ronin devours the meal eagerly. Gonji explains the town's situation. Seibê, the older crime boss, controls the town through his brothel and his tough wife, Orin. He placed a silk merchant, Tazemon, as the town's mayor, but Tazemon is merely a figurehead. Meanwhile, Ushitora, a rival crime boss known for his brutality and aided by his brutish brother Inokichi, has installed the corrupt sake brewer Tokuemon as the real mayor. Ushitora's influence now outweighs Seibê's, and the powerless Tazemon wanders town, angrily beating a drum. Expecting the ronin to leave after hearing all this, Gonji is stunned when the ronin calmly declares he'll be staying for a while. The ronin heads to Seibê's residence and calls out his men, offering to demonstrate his abilities. Afterward, he makes his way to Ushitora's home, where he's confronted again by the same thugs who had previously tried to intimidate him. As they swagger before him, the ronin calmly vows to kill them, and does so, swiftly taking down several of them within seconds. He then casually tells a nearby coffin-maker how many coffins to prepare. Returning to Seibê's home, the ronin is welcomed warmly. Seibê, planning an attack on Ushitora, wants to hire him as a bodyguard. The ronin shrewdly negotiates a much higher fee before agreeing. When asked his name and age, the ronin gazes out at a mulberry field, then introduces himself as Sanjuro Kuwabatake, meaning 30-something mulberry field, although he admits he's closer to 40. Soon after, Orin calls Seibê into another room. Sanjuro secretly listens in and discovers that Seibê and Orin plan to kill him once he's led their assault on Ushitora. At noon, Seibê's men and Sanjuro line up in the street opposite Ushitora's gang. Just as the fight is about to start, Sanjuro steps away and tells Seibê he knows about their betrayal. Climbing a nearby bell tower, he watches with amusement as the two gangs charge and retreat from each other without ever actually clashing. Their standoff is interrupted when a government inspector arrives to investigate a recent murder, actually committed by Ushitora's men. Forced to hold back, Ushitora and Seibê agree to postpone their fight. Sanjuro returns to Gonji's tavern and observes from the window as both Ushitora and Seibê eagerly try to win favor with the inspector. Later, Ushitora and his hulking enforcer, Kanuki, enter the tavern to offer Sanjuro a position as their bodyguard. Sanjuro plays coy, saying he has multiple offers to consider. That evening, as strong winds whip through town, excitement brews with the arrival of Unosuke, Ushitora's youngest and most dangerous brother, who proudly shows off a pistol he acquired during his travels by firing at the town's bell. That night, Sanjuro convinces Seibê to let him spy on Ushitora. In appreciation, Orin offers him the company of her geishas, but Sanjuro politely declines. While roaming the streets, Sanjuro overhears two of Ushitora's drunken thugs bragging about murdering the official. He tricks them into confessing, incapacitates them with his sword, ties them up, and delivers them to Seibê. He then returns to Ushitora and claims the two men were secretly working with Seibê. In retaliation, Unosuke and Ushitora's men kidnap Seibê's son, Yôjinbô. Soon after, from Gonji's tavern, Sanjuro watches as both gangs prepare to confront each other in the street. A man named Kohei and his young son enter the tavern, watching the brewing standoff nervously. A hostage exchange is planned. The two captured men for Yôjinbô. However, Unosuke coldly guns down the two prisoners instead. In response, Seibê reveals he has another bargaining chip, the beautiful Nui. Nui, Kohei's wife, had been forced into prostitution at Tokuemon's brothel after Kohei fell into debt with Ushitora. Each night, Kohei suffers listening to Nui's abuse at the hands of Tokuemon, while also enduring regular beatings from Inokichi. As the gangs proceed with the tense hostage exchange, Nui briefly sees her husband and son at Gonji's, but she is dragged away again into Ushitora's and Tokuemon's grip. That night, Sanjuro discovers where Nui is being held, now guarded by 6 men. As he strolls alongside Inokichi, he reminds him that Kohei still needs another beating. After Inokichi goes inside to carry it out, Sanjuro quickly rushes back to him, falsely claiming that all 6 guards have been killed and urging Inokichi to report it to Ushitora and Unosuke. Once Inokichi runs off, Sanjuro storms in, swiftly kills the 6 guards, and rescues Nui. He reunites her with Kohei and their son, then deliberately wrecks the room to make it look like a fierce struggle had taken place. Outside, Sanjuro is annoyed to find Kohei and Nui tearfully bowing to him in gratitude. Disgusted by their display, he threatens to kill them if they don't flee immediately, which they quickly do. Moments later, Ushitora, Unosuke, and their men return, finding the carnage and assuming Seibê's gang was responsible. In retaliation, they burn down Tazemon's silk warehouse, prompting Seibê's men to destroy Tokuemon's sake store in revenge. Sanjuro heads back to Gonji's tavern, surprised to find the normally cranky old man in unusually good spirits. Gonji has read a thank you note left behind by Kohei, delighted that Sanjuro's tough exterior hides a good heart. However, their moment is cut short when Unosuke enters, suspicious. He manages to disarm Sanjuro and confiscate his sword, catching Gonji as he tries to hide Kohei's letter. Unosuke, while searching for Nui earlier, had already heard rumors linking Sanjuro to her escape. Sanjuro is captured and brutally beaten by Kanuki and Ushitora's gang. Despite the relentless assaults, he refuses to reveal Nui's whereabouts, which he doesn't even know. During a brief pause in the beatings, the badly injured Sanjuro hides inside a chest. When Kanuki and another thug return and find the room empty, they panic, as Kanuki rushes off to alert the others, leaving the door unlocked. Sanjuro crawls out and slips under a nearby walkway, narrowly evading detection. Ushitora's men frantically search for him, unaware he's hiding right beneath them. Finding an opportunity, Sanjuro drags himself onto the street and reaches Gonji's tavern, where he tells Gonji to inform Ushitora's men he fled to Seibê's compound. Sanjuro then hides under a pile of debris in a corner of the tavern. When Gonji delivers this false report, Unosuke sees it as the perfect opportunity to wipe out Seibê once and for all. Meanwhile, Gonji and the local cooper devise a plan to smuggle Sanjuro out inside a coffin. As they carry him away, Sanjuro asks them to pause so he can glimpse the unfolding chaos. Ushitora's gang has set Seibê's brothel ablaze, forcing Seibê's men out into the open where they are gunned down by Unosuke or cut down by Ushitora's men. Eventually, Seibê, Orin, and their son emerge unarmed, surrendering, only to be ruthlessly murdered by Unosuke and Inokichi. During the carnage, the cowardly cooper flees, leaving Gonji alone to manage Sanjuro. Gonji tricks the dim-witted Inokichi into helping carry the coffin to the graveyard. Once there, Gonji fools Inokichi into heading back to town in search of Sanjuro. Safe for the moment, Sanjuro takes shelter inside a nearby temple. After several days of recovery, Sanjuro proves he has regained his strength by throwing a knife and catching a drifting leaf on its blade. When he hears someone approaching, he assumes it's Gonji bringing food. But it's actually the cooper who delivers bad news. Gonji has been captured by Ushitora's men while carrying food, and is now being beaten for information on Sanjuro's whereabouts. Furious, Sanjuro arms himself with a sword and a knife and marches into town. In the town square, he finds Gonji strung up by a rope, battered and bloodied. Spotting Sanjuro, Ushitora's entire gang assembles in the street to confront him. Sanjuro strides toward them, undeterred. Unosuke draws his pistol and warns him to halt. Instead, Sanjuro charges forward. Before Unosuke can fire, Sanjuro hurls his knife, striking Unosuke in the arm. In a blur, Sanjuro draws his sword and swiftly cuts down Ushitora's men, killing Unosuke, Inokichi, Ushitora, and the rest of the gang. Only one man is spared. The terrified son of the man Sanjuro had met when he first entered town. Sanjuro mockingly tells him to live a long life eating gruel. As Unosuke lies bleeding out, he weakly asks for his pistol, saying he feels naked without it. Sanjuro hands it to him. Unosuke tries to shoot, but the gun misfires. After he lowers it, it belatedly goes off. Sanjuro doesn't even flinch. Unosuke dies moments later. Suddenly, a crazed Tazemon appears, furiously beating his drum. Spotting Tokuemon, he rushes across the street and kills him. Sanjuro cuts Gonji down and remarks that the town will be pretty quiet from now on. With a casual, "see ya later," Sanjuro strolls out of the now almost deserted town. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.